Hi everyone, Phone Rainy here, taking a look at the Nokia Lumia 822, currently available from Verizon Wireless for $100 with a 2-year contract. The Nokia Lumia 822 is currently one out of two devices for Verizon that run on the new Windows Phone 8 platform. The other one is the HTC Windows Phone 8X. Here on the Nokia, we have a 4.3-inch clear black AMOLED display. Because of this, the colors are pretty accurate. Unfortunately though, the resolution is WVGA 480 by 800 pixels, so because that small text is going to be a little bit jagged at times, but you really only notice it somewhat when using the web browser, but overall it doesn't really take away from the experience of the device. Up on top here is a 1.3 megapixel camera. You also have the touch sensitive buttons down here on the bottom for back, returning back to the live tile start screen and search. Up on top is the 3.5 millimeter headset jack, and on the bottom is the micro USB port and speakers. On the right side is the volume rocker and power key. You also have a 2-stop camera shutter key here, which is nice. Press it halfway to focus on an image, and then the rest of the way to actually take the image. So it's nice to have the physical camera key here. And on the back is the 8 megapixel autofocus camera with dual LED flash. If you remove the battery cover, you'll gain access to the micro SD memory card slot, where you can put up to a 32 gigabyte memory card. Overall, the device is fairly compact, though. If you put it up next to the Samsung Galaxy S3, you will see the Galaxy S3 is a little bit thinner, but overall it's not that bad considering. But we do like the rounded edges here on the Nokia, so it does fit pretty well in the hand, and even though it's all plastic construction, it does feel well made, but it is a little bit slippery here with the plastic instead of having the soft touch coating that the HTC phone has. But overall it's a pretty decent and a pretty compact device. Overall, the Windows Phone 8 platform is pretty easy to use. Here on the main start screen you have your live tiles that are populated on there, and swiping over to the right, it will list all your current apps on there, as well as your settings. There aren't really any type of skins on the device, but you can choose the background between either dark or light. You can also change the accent colors to different colors here. As you can see, going back to the main screen, everything is green. So it does provide a little bit of customization there, but still doesn't really have anything as far as home screen wallpapers or 3D effects. Different type of skins and themes that you might see on other Android devices. It's pretty basic with its overall appearance, but that's pretty much what Microsoft is going for here, an uncluttered user interface that's pretty simple and interactive and easy to use. Since this is a Nokia device being sold on Verizon Wireless, you get some extra software apps from both of those. You have the ESPN app on there. There's also the My Verizon Mobile, NFL Mobile, Nokia City Lens, Nokia Drive Plus, and Nokia Maps. So you can use those sort of like a Google Maps navigation. It works pretty decent for driving directions. Also Nokia Music. Naturally with Microsoft you have their Office and OneNote on there, and the Microsoft App Store. There's also a Univision and Weather. So overall, a pretty decent selection of included apps on the device. The Nokia Lumia 822 also will run on Verizon's 4G LTE data network, so your data speeds are going to be pretty decent as long as you're in their 4G area. Otherwise, it will default back down to the slower 3G EVDO. One nice feature here is that you have the Internet Explorer 10. As you can see, it works pretty decent here when going to the phonearena.com website. Vertical kinetic scrolling works pretty well, as well as pinch to zoom. But as we mentioned, with the WVGA display, small text is going to look a little pixelated on there, so not as sharp as a 720p HD screen. So you do have to kind of zoom in somewhat to make the text a little bit clear, but just a little bit of zoom pretty much does that. But other than that, the internet browsing experience is pretty good, but as you can imagine, Flash is not supported, so you are slightly limited on that. Taking a look at the QWERTY keyboard on here, the on-screen keyboard, this is the one in landscape mode. It's not the best keyboard that we've seen. As you can see, it doesn't take up the entire screen. There's a soft key over here on the right side that takes up a little space, and space not used on either side. So because of that, the keys are kind of small, and as you can see, pretty cramped up next to each other. But if you change over to the vertical keypad, the keypad is a pretty decent size. It does take up the full screen side to side. So we do wish the landscape keyboard was a little bit better, but still not too terribly bad. Even though the device comes with a 8 megapixel autofocus camera with a Carl Zeiss f2.2 lens, the actual image quality we weren't really that impressed with. One thing that we noticed is that color representation is not completely accurate. Colors can be a little bit too cool in their appearance. Seems that the auto white balance has some issues there. Also, detail is a bit lacking. Details aren't quite as sharp as we would like. Overall, still not that bad for the price of the device, $100 on contract. Video recording is at a 1080p resolution and 30 frames per second, so video playback is actually pretty decent. Overall, the call quality on the Lumia 822 was good, but not great. Voices on our end, even though they were natural sounding through the earpiece speaker, we did notice it was a little bit on the harsh, sharp side, so we did have to lower the volume to try to compensate for that. A little bit overbearing and sharp. Something that we really don't see that often on other devices. The speakerphone through the bottom speakers here was also pretty loud and accurate, though turning it all the way up on high does get a little bit of a distortion, crackling through the speakerphone, so had to keep that on medium. Also, the included 1800 milliamp battery does pretty good with the battery life. We're able to get about 11 hours of talk time on a full charge, or about 2 days of mixed usage. So overall, pretty decent with the battery life. Like we said, call quality is good, but we did have to turn the volume down to medium or a little bit lower just to try to avert that over sharpness in the earpiece speaker. So currently, with only 2 Windows Phone 8 devices on Verizon Wireless, the Nokia Lumia 822 is pretty attractive with the $100 contract price. Like we mentioned, the 4.3-inch clear black AMOLED display does really good with color accuracy, though since it's a WVGA resolution, small text in the web browser is going to be a little bit jagged, so you are going to have to zoom in on there. It does well with the 4G connectivity as well as you're outside, but once you go indoors, it does seem to want to drop down to a 3G EVDO. You also have a GSM global roaming capabilities on the device, so if you go overseas, you will be able to use the phone there. The 8 megapixel autofocus camera does alright, again considering the price, but then again, since it's a f2.2 lens with Carl Zeiss, we were expecting a little bit better results. Actually, the Samsung Galaxy S3 does do a little bit better with the camera on there, so not really that impressed with the camera, but the video recording quality is pretty decent. The 1800 milliamp battery also does pretty decent results with 11 to 12 hours of talk time and about 2 days of mixed usage. So overall, it's a pretty decent device here. It does only come with 8 gigabytes of internal memory, but you can add a micro SD card for up to 32 gigabytes of additional memory. That's actually one advantage that this Nokia Lumia 822 has over the HTC Windows Phone 8X. Even though that device has 16 gigabytes of internal memory, there is no SD expansion at all, so you're stuck in with the 16 gigs. So that's one thing that we do like about the Nokia, is that it does have the micro SD expandability on it. So to find out more information about the Nokia Lumia 822, be sure to check out our website at phonearena.com.